This is Justin Amazon for Thursday, January 30th, 2020. Take a look at the 5 minutes and we'll go through this pretty quickly. Uh, we moved up, came back down, retested the pivot, didn't really hold it too well. Rolled back down, actually made a nice little triangle here and rolled back down into a double bottom. This made a really nice stair step through here that then actually broke down. Actually, it's a little bigger than a stair step. I'd say it actually looked like it went from a double bottom into a double top, this being the neckline, high wave candle, broke down. And then this is a really nice stair step here. It really stayed in the same range. You know, it's not like it had this candle that was lower and then a small candle, then came back up. That's why I like this more as a stair step. But you know, it was moving down, and it's a continuation pattern that didn't continue down. So it actually moved up, and it kind of made a bigger double bottom on the day. So you know, I'm talking about a smaller double bottom here, talking about a double top here, and then a bigger double bottom like this. And actually it retested the neckline here and then bounced. So that's pretty cool. That did all that today. I just didn't really see it interacting with a pivot very well. And so I was just staying away and kind of waiting to see what was going to happen on earnings. So right before we talk about earnings, looking at calls, this was the first part of the double bottom. The second low of the double bottom was here around noon, and it was much higher. So like the premium was not getting sucked back out as it pulled back almost, you know, into this level on the 5 minute. And normally options are going to lose more value. And so this really should have been a lower low than the first part of the double bottom. This price should have actually been down around 5 on a normal week, normal option movement. And obviously it shouldn't even have been this expensive. And we're looking at the 1950 calls. So anyway, obviously with earnings affecting everything, you would have had to pay up on a double bottom, which normally it wouldn't happen. But it did grind. It just continued grinding up. I don't really know if this candle is for real, the lower wick down here, because a lot of people would have been stopped out wherever you had your stop, if that's real. There was only 106 contracts traded that entire 5 minutes. So it kind of makes me wonder that it wasn't real, because like then these two candles had, you know, 500, 600 range, you know, contracts. So I don't think this is a real wick. I don't know where the low actually is. So actually, let's see if I can switch over on 1 minute. Will it tell us what's going on in here? Okay, 1 minute doesn't help. 15 contracts. Yeah, I doubt there. I mean, maybe someone sold one way down here and it had the price there. I have no idea. I don't know why somebody would have gotten a filler, but anyway, it just doesn't look real that it came down that far. So my guess is that we were really staying up in this range, and that's not really real. I was hoping to see a little bit more, like just like one of these little ticks on a 1 minute down here, but that didn't happen. All right, so 1 minute doesn't help us. Back to the 5 minute. Yeah, it just grinded up. Okay, so we'll just skip puts. We don't even need to talk about puts. Let's take a look. If I move I couldn't even show the 3 o'clock. I'm showing it like close because it started to move. The moving averages start to move, and the candles aren't even on here yet. And yeah, so the first 5 minutes after close, we're all the way up, and the high is 2050.31. The high before this was 2050.50, right? Is that right? On the daily, 2050.50. Yeah. So this is just comical how amazingly bullish it is right out the gate. It's 19 cents away from all-time highs. Where do you think we're going to go? Surprisingly, we got a really small candle comparatively, a really nice inverted hammer, making an all-time high. There's no tag yet that we're at an all-time high, so hang on. And then we move up, and we keep moving up. And now we've made a new all-time high after hours, obviously, of 2,133 and 74 cents. I'm going to have a hard time remembering that one. But from there, we've just kind of been grinding back down. And this is where we find ourselves after hours. So it's really difficult to look at this chart this way. I'm going to show you something else on a 15 minute. It's a little cleaner for where we just pulled right back into our all-time high, 20, 50, 50. But on the 15 minute, I can go all the way back to the previous earnings. At least I thought I could. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Previous earnings, complete opposite. We flushed lower, came all the way down to a pivot, stopped at a pivot, came all the way back, and we're hanging out right underneath this pivot. So let's kind of invert this. Let's picture this opposite of where we're at. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I think this time we sold off, not as bad as we just, I mean, this was what, 100, 150, about $150 move here. And we just moved 200 something, right? 300, no, 200 something. Yeah. So we've got a bigger move bullish, but we've had a very similar pullback into a pivot. If we do something like this, so again, think of this opposite. If we actually open up below the 20-50-50 and do some sort of S curve pre-market and then come back up and it's holding as resistance, I think we're going to have this kind of a sell-off tomorrow. I think we could pull much further back down. It's not going to be like a complete, well, I mean, it could be a big selling day, but it's the last day of the month. I don't know if that has much to do with anything, but I think some people will be taking some profits if the market's way up and if Amazon's way up, that it has that potential. Let me do something real quick. In terms of trying to look at this upside down. Let me type in minus, if it'll work. There we go, minus Amazon. Okay, so here's that. My lines don't show up anywhere, but picture this. Picture this as if, right now where we're at, we've come back. Okay, it's late. I'm trying to draw. Hang on, I want the chart in the right place first. Okay, let's say after hours, right here, this price right here is actually 20-50-50, where we just pulled right back into. I'm trying to draw a straight line. Okay, let's say that's 20-50-50. $22,050, that's right here. And let's say in the morning, we come like this, we break down a little bit more, come back up to it, and we're holding this as resistance. I think that's where we could have a bigger sell-off. Just like this did, had a nice curve down, came right back up to this level as resistance, and then spent a good portion of the morning selling off, really into about 11 o'clock, where it sort of recovered. It just kind of stopped selling off so hard. So this is the 15 minute, I usually look at the 5, but you can't go, well, the way I have it set, my 15 minute goes back 90 days, but my 5 minute goes back 20 days. So I can't look at this on the 5 minute right now. So, okay, let's go back over here. Oops, too far. So now this sell-off here looks like the last earnings if I flip the chart back around, like that's what I'm doing, just comparatively, like we're getting a big move in the complete opposite direction of what we did before. So yeah, we went from 1870 all the way up to 2130. So we actually went 260. So yeah, much further along. I think this is a bigger move than many folks were expecting. If we look at the hourly, we should be able to get both of these on the same chart. Yeah, okay. So you can see that's significantly bigger move here. It looks like it's double. 150 to 260. I did the math right. 260. Yeah, 260. Okay. So huge move. I think we could at least have a pullback like this. This had a rally that moved back up almost to that same price. I don't think we're going to have a collapse that's going to bring us all the way back down to 1925 or something. I don't think it's going to move that far down. I think we could get below 2000 if it does pull back. That's what I'm leaning towards, that it'll have a bigger sell-off. It'll pull back $50 on this kind of a move. Doesn't feel like very much. If we don't do that, if we get some high wave candle in here and rally, I mean, this thing's going to the moon. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not on Friday. at the 31st, but there's nothing in the way of this thing just running higher. And this is even just kind of hard to think about, but I've got the monthly chart here, and it's really hard to see, but wow, that's not what I'm trying to do. Nope, do. You can't even see this. Why is this not working? There we go. No, there we go. Okay, we had this really nice consolidation triangle in here. This candle is going to be showing up it'll be right around 2050. So it'll be a huge bullish candle here. This squeeze will probably trigger. It'll probably have some sort of a snap up with how the histogram down here will probably turn to cyan and be very positive, is my guess, with this gapping up so far, and it'll close the month as a really bullish candle. Right into resistance if we can still open right at 2050. If we can open a little bit lower, like I said, I don't think we're going to, let's see, the open on this candle is 1875. I think we'll still have a bullish candle. I don't think we'll get back down below 1875. I think we could come back into the 1900s, and it'll look really strong, but to me, it's looking like we won't quite break this yet, but that means that the squeeze is really either going to fire or getting ready to fire. And we could have a couple months of kind of a stair-step pullback sort of thing, just sideways, and then really run. And when I say really run, I mean this has been multi-year. This is a couple of years of consolidation here. I mean, we could easily hit 3,000 before the end of this year if this monthly actually breaks out. The weekly looks similar. Just that we've had so much consolidation. You can see it here. We've got the squeeze that's already broken out on the weekly. I had just drawn this channel yesterday thinking we were going to have a smaller gap. I drew this one, just adding it to the next channel above, just to say, well, now look where we are. Are we way up here? We're actually the 2133 price, 2133.74. Okay, I got it memorized already. That price is way up here. So actually, this same week, we're going to have, if it were to show up that high, we would have a move way up here. We're way outside of this. As it looks like we're going to open around 2050. If it stays there, we should be still within this channel. If it rallies, I think it could still get up to 2085. That's not that much further. And then we'd have a candle that moves from way down here to way up to the top of this channel. And we've seen some candles push through that before. Obviously not as far as this one looks like it could go, but we've had some big candles push through, this new channel. So I'm not saying it's going to work. It's just, we've seen some candles do it before. So it's not, out of the realm of possibility. All right, back to the daily. And this is where it just doesn't make sense at all. Like, we're with where we've been at. We've been consolidating here for so long. It's like we're doing this consolidation and a breakout in a single day. Like, that's what we're about to see. We're about to see this thing gap up and be way up here and potentially, be above some resistances, be right into resistance. That's why I think we could see some selling. At least, we're going to trap a lot of these bears. We may start squeezing them up here. And that could make things really run. If shorts start covering, if newbies are getting in, I'm going to play this cautiously here. Look for some consolidation. Look for it to go sideways a little bit and break out. If it's going to go bullish. But look for some high wave candles, some indecision, and then look for the direction after that. And get in, if it does go to break out, get in on the next bearish candle that pulls back if you get one. Otherwise, just jump in for the ride and make sure you're waiting long enough for the option premium to be sucked out and actually give you a chance to get in at a lower cost. Because right now, actually, we can probably look at it. All of the options, like all of this is already shifted to having the strike, where we're at the money. Everything is already shifted here on this, at least where it's showing in the money, out of the money, but the prices are not accurate yet. And these are going to get flooded with premium. and all this put premium is going away like instantly. It's just crazy how much these options are going to move. $260 move potentially, or wherever we end up, maybe 175. When we actually open, but yeah, there's going to be a lot of things happening. Don't just jump into options first thing in the morning. Be patient. Even going back to where'd it go? No, it was this one right here. I'm like, wait, was it back here? No. Back to this. Go back and watch the video I did for last earnings. You come back and look at even the 15. And then come back over here. Not far enough. There we go. It doesn't show it on the 15. I can't go back on the 5 right now, but we had some positive. We had some selling coming in. We had it interacting with the pivot and looking like it was rolling over, and then it rallied. We had a lot of bullish candles in a row with some lower wicks. There were retests all along this. You just had to define the price that you're getting into. Even on a 15, you could just say, okay, I'm going to get in when it breaks out of this 15 and put my stop below this 15. And to do that with options, you're going to still have to be further out of the money. And if you're further out of the money, the premium is going to get sucked out of those faster. So you got to let it consolidate some. It didn't slow down though. It just kept marching on. This is kind of what I'm picturing as potential for where we may open up way up here. And there's a lot of pivots down here to pull back into. That'll slow this down, show a little bit of a bounce off of one of these. We got the 21 coming in right here. If we can just even pull it down into, I haven't even talked about these pricing models, 20, 25, 57, 2013, 2005, 1990, 1972.50. If we can slow down and pull into any of these, if we can shop around in any of these and then continue, it's going to give you some pauses, some bullish candles to get in on when it's going bearish, as it's moving that direction. So what I'm picturing is, opening up around in here, pulling back some, this is pre-market, coming back up in here, and then starting to sell off. And then the market will open here or maybe here. The market should open somewhere and it's in this range is what I'm expecting. And then a continuation down. And wow, I didn't mean to draw that all the way to 1880 because that would actually basically fill the gap. But I think we could come back into mid 1900s. That's totally possible. If there's a lot of people selling here, seeing this as such a strong resistance as a previous all-time high. Sometimes I feel sorry for this person buying way up here. That that's not who you want to be, but there are a lot of people buying this up. Amazon will go higher from this whole range. I just don't know if it's going to, take all of February to chop around in this area before it then goes higher. I like the drawings there. There you go. Okay. Alternatively, if it does not sell off, if we get some sort of bounce here, look for it to chop around and just keep grinding and look for it to grind higher. And we could see, I don't think we're just going to stay stagnant right here all day. I think I'm leaning towards bearish. I think the potential is that we could just keep grinding higher. This is, I think, right at this price, it's around 12% move. There's still room, it made it all the way up here. It could easily make it all the way up here again, or even hit 2150 if it starts to just rally, and grind higher. But I think it's going to trap some people. There might be some, breakouts that then come all the way back down, take out the low, bears are going to get in. All of this is coming in the morning. Be patient, maybe even wait to the afternoon, wait for things to settle down. Obviously you can get in aggressively, you can, get in something directionally and it may work. What I'm looking for is waiting for things to settle down a bit, look for some candles that I really like to see. We've been looking at some stair steps, some hammers, stuff like that. Even right here, can't even see it. We have some stair stepping, some high wave candles, and then look, we have a breakout, and then it's pulling back already. This was right into after hours close. So you get something like this where it breaks out, retest, let it get in on the retest bearish candle, stop down here, and it should bounce off the pivot. If it doesn't, you're wrong. flip or wait and wait for it to move and get in again. But don't be afraid of this thing moving and making a lot of money tomorrow. Just look for the setups that you're familiar with. And that's what I'm going to be doing. That's what I'm going to be doing too. So hope this helps. This is just AMZN. Thanks.